Hello, all my blessed brothers and sisters. We are now the Untold Story. We're up to series number 15. I checked and we're still not halfway through the book, so I'm going to try to go a little bit longer. Let me know if it's too long for anybody. It's definitely as long as I ever want to go. We'll see how we do. We're at a visit to Troas, and Paul, Silas, and Timothy head northwest to a Roman colony called Troas. Troas is about 600 miles northwest of Antioch, Syria. Its population is about 100,000, which is a large city by ancient standards. Paul, when they get there, they're not sure why they're there. Paul receives a vision in the night, and he sees a Macedonian man beseeching him to come to Macedonia and offer help. God is calling them to preach the gospel in Macedonia, is what they have decided. Luke, having traveled to Troas to join Paul, Silas, and Timothy, accompanies them to Macedonia. A kingdom community is planted in Philippi. The men take the great Roman road called Via Ignata, the Ignatian Way, to travel the 10 miles from Neapolis to Philippi. This is a large marble-covered military road that runs across Balkan Peninsula from the Aegean Sea to the Adriatic. Finally, Paul, Silas, Timothy, and Luke arrive in the Roman colony of Philippi. Here's a little background sharpening the focus. Philippi is a Roman city where retired Roman soldiers had been given appropriated land upon their retirement after the decisive battle between Octavian Augustus and Mark Antony in 31 BC. It is one of the chief cities in the province of Macedonia and is thoroughly Romanized. The population is between 5,000 and 10,000, and the wall of circumference is 2 miles. Philippi is a wealthy city. The chief language is Latin, though many speak Greek. Philippi is naturally beautiful, displaying a plethora of 100-petaled roses. The other part of the empire have few. In short, Philippi is a microcosm of Rome. There is no synagogue in Philippi because the Jewish population is too sparse. You need to have at least a sum of 10 male Jews. In this case, it's a temporary place of prayer in open air near a river where people can wash their hands. This is keeping in line with the Jewish purity rites. A great deal of anti-Jewish sentiment exists in Rome. Philippi is aligned with the empire's anti-Judaic sensibilities, supporting the Jewish expulsion from Rome in AD 49. For this reason, Jewish prejudice is running high in the city when Paul and Silas come there. The Romans complained that the Jews were converting people, which meant more people no longer worshiped Caesar or the gods. So when Paul and Silas and Timothy and Luke arrive in Philippi, they search for a synagogue. As we know, they do not find one. So they go down to the river, where there are women, and there's a God-fearing Gentile and a woman of high standing. She is also pious and single. Paul preaches Christ to the woman who gather for prayer in the morning, and God opens Lydia's heart to receive the message. As a result, Lydia becomes the first convert in Europe. She and her household are immediately baptized, and she opens her home, insisting that the men stay with her. Lydia has a large enough house to accommodate all 4 men along with her household. Undoubtedly, the men find Lydia's hospitality a blessing, since they don't have to suffer the perils of staying in an inn. Later, Paul will honor Lydia as a partner in God's work. After many days, Paul's tolerance runs out. This is about a woman who came up who was possessed, and she keeps writing them. After many days, Paul's tolerance runs out. He casts the python spirit out of her in the name of Jesus Christ. The girl is instantly delivered and loses her power of clairvoyance. When her owner finds this out, he is infuriated. They cannot continue making money from her power. The girls' owners seek out Paul and Silas and aggressively drag them through the marketplace, known as the Agora in Greek, the Forum in Latin. The apostles are hauled before the city magistrates, also called praetors, and the slave girls' owners accused the men of disturbing the peace and introducing illegal customs. They emphasized that Paul and Silas are Jews, which is an important detail and also not true, by the way, given the anti-Semitism and anti-Jewishness in the Roman colony. It is a moment of high drama. Hearing the charges surrounding the crowd is incited against Paul and Silas, and they join the attack. The magistrates ordered that the two men to be stripped and beaten by the lictors, the police attendants. With no trial, Paul and Silas are completely unclothed and severely battered with birch rods. The two apostles are placed in the most secure cell. Their feet are placed in wooden stocks, causing extreme discomfort. Now, without all that background, we probably wouldn't know when we're reading 1 Thessalonians 2:2, where it says, having suffered before and been shamefully treated, as you know, at Philippi, what that really meant. There's a lot to that short statement. The sanitary conditions of the jail are horrific. Rodents abound. Like all prisoners, the men aren't cared for, so they must rely on their friends to bring them food. Because Paul and Silas are actually Roman citizens, the beatings were illegal. Roman citizens are exempt from degrading treatment like scourging, and they're exempt from the arrest except in extreme cases. At midnight, Paul and Silas sit bruised, bleeding and sore, in complete darkness in their jail cell. Their backs are covered with tender welts, and they suffer pain in their legs. Yet the two men pray and sing hymns to the Lord. The other prisoners listen with wonder and surprise. Suddenly, an earthquake shakes the foundations of the jail, and the doors fling open, and every prisoner's stocks come loose. The jailer awakens and realizes the jail doors are open. Thinking the prisoners have escaped, he is overwhelmed with dread and draws his sword and is about to kill himself. Shouting, Paul pleads for the jailer not to harm himself, because none of the inmates have left. The jailer asks for the torches to see the prisoner. After he verifies they haven't escaped, he falls down trembling before Paul and asks what he must do to be saved. He then brings Paul and Silas near his home to hear the word of salvation. The two apostles proclaim Christ to him and his household, and they receive the message. The jailer bathes the wounds of the two men at a well in the prison courtyard. He and his household are all baptized in the middle of the night. The jailer then brings Paul and Silas into the house and feeds them. As he talks with the apostles over a meal, he is filled with joy of salvation. Paul and Silas willingly return to jail. At daybreak, the magistrates send word to the officers to release Paul and Silas. When the jailer lets Paul know the seemingly good news, Paul protests. He argues that he and Silas are Roman citizens, and it was illegal for them to have been publicly beaten without a trial. Since they were unlawfully chained in public as criminal, Paul demands they be officially exonerated of the charges and escorted out of jail in public view rather than in secret. Paul's appeal turns the table on the magistrates. They charged him with being disloyal to Rome, but they were the ones who had broken the Roman law. Hearing that Paul and Silas are Roman citizens mortifies the magistrates, so they comply with Paul's request. They publicly escort the two apostles out of the jail and urge them to leave the city. But Paul and Silas are in no hurry to depart. They visit Lydia and encourage the new believers. The ecclesia in Philippi is not only made up of women now, but brothers are present also. As they stride out of the city, they take Timothy with them, but they leave Luke behind. Philippi now has a kingdom community, an assembly of God's people, and is mostly populated by God-fearing women. Lydia, Judea, and Syntyche, all women, are part of the assembly. So is a man named Clement. The church meets in Lydia's home. The body of Jesus Christ, a face-to-face community and colony of heaven, bearing God's image and authority, is now present in a Roman colony. A kingdom of community is planted in Thessalonica. Paul, Silas, and Timothy head west on the Anician Way. Because their beating was so brutal, the clothes on Paul and Silas's back caused them pain and discomfort still. After passing through towns of Amphipolis, about 30 miles southwest of Philippi, and Apollonia, 27 miles further, they traveled an additional 35 miles and arriving in the thriving port city of Thessalonica. Totaling all 3 legs of the trip, Thessalonica is almost 100 miles southwest of Philippi. Sharpening the focus, and I think I'm getting close here. Let me take a quick look because I may end it sooner. Yeah, I think I'm going to end it here. That is just too much. Let's sharpen the focus, and then we'll leave it there. Sharpening the focus, Thessalonica is the capital of Macedonia and the largest city in northern Greece. The population is between 65,000 and 100,000, so again, a real large city. Through the city is predominantly Greek. It contains a considerable number of Italians and Thracians. Jews make up a small minority, but there is a large enough population to support a synagogue. It's a free Greek city, not a Roman colony. It mints its own coins and its own form of government. Nevertheless, the city has close ties with Rome and the emperor. Thus, it's sensitive to anything that might cause it to lose favored city status. The politarchs are particularly sensitive to any problems coming from the Jews. The general attitude in the city, as well as throughout the empire among the Gentiles, is that mistresses we keep for the sake of pleasure, concubines for the daily care of our persons, but wives to bear us legitimate children and be faithful guardians of our household. By stark contrast, the high standard of sexuality among Jews is respected in the diaspora. The women of Macedonia are noted for their independence. A famine will hit Greece in AD 51, and there will be earthquakes and widespread panic throughout the region. These catastrophes will be viewed as a divine judgment from the gods because the Christians, the converts in the ecclesia that Paul will raise up, are a mixture of slaves, freedmen, and well-to-do people. Most assemblies also include merchants, scribes, and city's officials. This is also true in Thessalonica. I will end it there, but again, as always, the background history behind this changes what I hear when I'm reading the Bible. So hopefully it does the same for you. Hopefully you all having a blessed day, blessed week, blessed month, blessed year, blessed life. Bless y'all. See you later.